Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu, inside his home, but of course a place, there was no ceiling. One of the rooms was there was no ceiling in the house. He started doing the salah in that room, and he named it masjid. So he made that room of the house a masjid, and started doing the ibadah in that room. The hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari. Very amazing situation took place after this. That tells us what is the book of Allah, what is Kalamullah, what is the beauty of it, what is the effect and impact of it if we really use it. Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu, of course, is required to do the ibadah only inside his home. So in that room, he performs the salah, and every night he's doing a lot of prayers, salat al-tahajjud. And all of these prayers he liked to recite Quran loudly. The hadith says, وَكَانَ أَبُو بَكْرَ رَجُلًا بَكَّاءً لَا يَمْلِكُ دُمُوعَهُ. Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu used to cry a lot. He could not control his tears when he would recite Quran al-Kareem. So as Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu would be performing the salah in that room and reciting Quran al-Kareem during the salah, and he cries and prays to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in some time people had seen that a big crowd of women and children out of Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu's home, all of them would like to listen to that beautiful recitation of Quran al-Kareem. Who are these women? These are not the Muslim women. These were the women of the kuffar of Quraysh. These youth and children who are getting together outside of Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu's home to listen to that recitation, they are all non-Muslims. And they all get together around Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu's home. The wording of Sahih al-Bukhari says, فَيَتَقَصَّفُ النِّسَاءُ وَالْأَطْفَالُ عَلَيْهِ. Yataqassaf means they all used to get crowded outside of his home. That means they're falling on each other, because each of them would like to be closest to the wall of the home of Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu to listen to that recitation of Quran al-Kareem. Kuffar of Quraysh called Ibn al-Dawannah. They said, we meant Abu Bakr should do it secretly. And here all of our women and children are running after him. They would like to listen to his recitation. He cries and they cry, and they listen to that recitation. Tell Abu Bakr not to do that. Ibn al-Dawannah went to Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu, and he said, I gave you the refuge, and you were under, or we should say, under my protection in Makkah Mukarramah. Now the kuffar of Quraysh are having this concern that you recite Quran loud and you cry so people hear you reciting. So do it inside your home, in the dark place, in the secret place, so people can't listen to you. Don't recite it loud. Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu said to Ibn al-Dawannah, رَدَدْتُ إِلَيْكَ جَوَارُكَ وَرَضِيتُ بِجَوَارِ اللَّهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى. I'm returning your protection to you and your refuge to you. Take back your protection. I don't need your protection anymore. And I'm pleased with the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibn al-Dawannah tried to explain to Abu Bakr, Abu Bakr, see the hardships that you are going through, for which you had to leave this town. Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu said, the maximum will happen is I will have to leave the town. But I cannot stop reciting the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Kalamullah, the way I want, if you would like to have any control over me, because you are protecting me in reciting Quran al-Kareem, and how loud or low pitch I should use for the recitation of Quran al-Kareem, I cannot do that. Take the protection back, and I don't need any protection from you. Now Abu Bakr Radiyallahu Anhu went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, please, we would like to migrate out of this town. within few days of that situation, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, now we are supposed to migrate to Medina Munawwarah. So Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu was one of the first people to go to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Ya Rasulullah, then I would like to go to Medina Munawwarah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam did not allow Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu to leave Makkah. He said, now you are not allowed to leave. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had something special for Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu in his mind. And you all know that. And inshallah we'll talk about it later on. But Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu's being in Makkah Mukarramah was very helpful to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, especially for two different reasons. One was, as Ali radiyallahu anhu says, Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu was the most brave person to help Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Makkah Mukarramah. There is hadith in Musnad al-Bazzar, read by Ali radiyallahu anhu. He says, once I was by the Kaaba and I was a child. The kuffar of Quraysh, when they saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam entering into the haram and coming back to the Kaaba, one of them went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and asked him, are you the person who says there is only one God and there are no other gods? He said, yes. And that person started pulling Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's sheet, and he threw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam down. Ali radiyallahu anhu says, another person came and started punching Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and gradually all of them, they surrounded Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and everyone is torturing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in different ways. He says, I started crying. There was nothing that I could do at that age. I was crying, and no one could dare to go and stop that torture from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and help Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. All of a sudden I saw Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu entering into the haram. He started crying when he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in that situation, and he started pulling all the kuffar of Quraysh away and helped Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And there are many occasions in which Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu was the person who was able to help Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in those situations. And the second thing that Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu was needed in Makkah at that time, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to go out to spread the message of Islam for the da'wah of Islam. And this is a very important point for us to learn and to know, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's main goal of spreading the message of Islam was the different clans of Quraysh or different clans of Arabs that used to come for Hajj during the days of Hajj. Of course, even before Islam, the kuffar of Quraysh and all the Arabs, because they thought they are following the deen of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. Originally, as we talked about it on the day of Eid, originally all the Arabs were on the deen of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. Gradually, as the idol worshipping came into Arabia, their deen started changing. And finally, they got to a situation when there were only few, and I don't want to call them ibadas because there were no ibadas. There were few things left over from the deen of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. In fact, there were only titles, and the whole ibadah within that title was changed. One of them was Hajj. The Hajj that was performed by Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was totally different than the Hajj was performed by these kuffar of Quraysh. But at least they used to come for Hajj thinking that we are following Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and the deen of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And how big the changes were, of course, is out of this topic. But there will be something to know and to learn that will give us an idea that when shaitan brings the changes in deen, in fact, we should say, when we start making changes in our deen, how far these changes can go. We might think this is only something minor and this is the only step that I'm taking. I won't do nothing after this. This is the only minor change we would like to bring